What's going on, guys? Chandler here. So this is going to be my new segment on my YouTube channel called First Listen Review that is taken from my $5 tier full album reactions. So I react to the entire album, and then at the very end I give my overall thoughts and initial thoughts and a score on the album as a whole. So again, if you do like what you see and want to support the channel going forward, head over to patreon.com/ChandlerBurtonEntertainment. This is exclusive to the $5 tier. Again, you get a full album reaction, review, and a whole bunch of other perks as well if you guys are interested. And again, there's always a link down below in the description and in the pinned comment. But with that being said, I hope you guys enjoy the review, and thank you all so much for watching. Alright, my friends, again, 1,000 Below, Hell Finds You Everywhere. I'm super excited to check this out here, man. Again, I've been a big fan of these guys for a long time. I've actually had the opportunity to talk to a couple of people in the band, and they're just some of the coolest, just chillest dudes ever. So really, really cool, like, on their part for being able to, like, message me back and have a little bit of a conversation with me here. It always feels good when they're like, yeah, dude, we're just cool dudes. And I don't know, I just really like that. I think that's really, really cool. A lot of cool features on this as well. The first song features Noah from Bad Omens. We also have Matt Flood from Caskets on here as well, which again, super sick. I also love that the album's only 32 minutes. That's literally the perfect length of an album for me here. It's just like, it's still a good size album, but again, it's not overly long, and I just really like that. Maybe because I'm just getting old and I can't, I don't know. I'm just a weird dude like that. So, but again, really excited to check it out with you guys here. Again, I'm just so excited to dive right in. Again, 1,000 Below, Hell Finds You Everywhere. Let's go ahead and pop it off in 3, 2, and 1.
A few moments later.
All right, my friends. Well, that was a very interesting listen through and through. I have to say, I was a little underwhelmed with the album. Not that it's bad by any means, but I was feeling a little underwhelmed with this one. But there's still I think more pros than cons with the album. So I'm gonna give my first listen review. So stick around. That is coming up next. All right, my friends. So again, that was 1,000 Below and their brand new album, Hell Find You Everywhere. Again, we just got done jamming the entire thing. There are definitely a lot I like. There's a ton I like about this album, but there's also some things I really don't like about this album. But as always, we're going to start off with the pros. So pro number one is I'm going to give it to my boy James. Homeboy's got a really good voice. He's got a really good scream and a really good singing voice. I do prefer his singing voice over his screams, but I think he does a really good job of transitioning between the screams and the sing. So sometimes he'll be singing, and then all of a sudden he'll just scream and then go back to the singing. Like, he'll scream for like 5 seconds and then go back to singing like right away. And he sounds really good. Like, his tone sounds exactly the same. Like, I just feel like he knows kind of what he's doing. Obviously, when you're in the studio, you can sing, stop it, scream. You know, you can kind of like piece things together. And so I have not seen these guys live, but I assume that he could probably do it okay with the help of some backup vocals, if that is the thing that they do. But as listening to it as a whole thing, his transitions between his screaming and his singing are really good. Like, his melodies and his voice just sounds absolutely fantastic. I also will say, just about every single song, actually I think every single song on this album has the catchiest chorus ever. Like, I was already humming like Hell Finds You Everywhere or Clockwork Enemy or Next Time Around. Like, those types of songs I'm already like humming in my head, because again, the choruses are so catchy, and I think they did a really good job with the choruses here, whether it's with like James's vocal patterns or adding cool little effects in there. You know, they just had a lot of cool things going for it. So again, every chorus on this album essentially just sounds absolutely fantastic. I really enjoy that aspect of the music. I also say this album does have a really good blend of heavy and melodic. Like, it's not like the super like heaviest album I've ever heard in the world. It's not like the softest album I've ever heard in the world. Like, it does a good job of blending both together. And so again, I think this is a really good gateway album for those trying to get into like heavier types of music. Then they're just like, you know, I want something a little bit heavier, but I don't want it to go so over the top that I just can't tolerate it. I really feel like this album is a great gateway to that, because again, there's not much screaming in it, and when there is, it sounds pretty cool, I would say. And so again, I think this album has a really good mix of heavy and melodic. And I would also say the features on this album were really, really cool. Again, I was so excited to hear Noah's from Bad Omens that I think I just missed this part, but I went back and listened to it again, and then I heard it, because I was like, I'm so looking forward to it here, because I love Bad Omens. And so he sounded great. Matt from Casket sounds absolutely fantastic. He has one of the best, like, most emotional voices I've heard in music, like, ever. And so he was able to carry, like, Next Time Around so well. Like, he just sounded so good. He was the highlight on that song for sure. Just absolutely fantastic. And then honestly, even on Blue Roses Don't Fade, the CVLTE, the rapper guy, even his part sounded kind of cool. That song kind of fit for it, and so I really feel like he did a good job as well. I do not know that artist, but again, all the features sounded really cool on this album. Alright, so as I said, this album did leave me a little underwhelmed. Again, I enjoyed the album, but I just felt like there could have been so much more to this album. And again, I hate saying that because I know how hard artists work. And again, I don't want to compare myself to an artist, but I've been working on a couple more. I'm working on a few songs with my friend Mike again, who I did What Have I Become with, and going into the studio and pushing your voice and pushing your body to the fullest capability that you can is really, really hard. And then at the end of the day, you feel proud of the work that you do. And then again, people come out and just kind of criticize it. I know that feeling. And again, it's something that I just have to accept, you know, as an artist, you know, as an artist in some sort of way, you know. And with this album, again, I know these guys are hard workers. I know they're grinding. I know they're touring. I know they're just putting out this material. But I just feel like, again, a little bit of it was just undercooked for me here. And I would say, number one, one of the biggest things, that a lot of the songs had a similar structure. Now, in my pros, I mentioned that there were some parts where they kind of do mix things up a little bit. Like Clockwork Enemy was a great example of mixing it up. That breakdown was super cool, kind of had a Northland influence there, which I thought was really, really sick. But again, all the songs, like all the melodic songs sound exactly the same. All the heavier songs kind of sound the same. The softer songs, like for example, Next Time Around and All I Have Left to Give, sound very similar in my personal opinion. I went back and listened to them again. The only difference is that Matt is on Next Time Around, but other than that, the songs sound somewhat similar in my personal opinion, other than like the choruses here. And so I feel like it is a little bit hard to pick one song from another. I would also say another con with this album is that a lot of these songs just don't really go anywhere. Like, there's just nothing about them. It just kind of feels like an empty slate of a song, like kind of soulless a little bit here. So for example, Silent Season, while it is a pretty short song, and I usually like short songs, like I usually around that time, anywhere between 2.5 minutes to 4 minutes, I usually don't mind my songs. But this one just kind of felt like a summer rock anthem, and it just didn't really, there was nothing interesting about the song. It was like the same progression throughout. I mean, again, the chorus was really good, it was catchy, but nothing happened in that song. I would also say Blue Roses Don't Fade, while that is the most different song on the album, it definitely feels like, as I said in the review, it feels like when Dayseeker takes one of their songs and reimagines it, like when they have Sleep Talk and then they reimagine Sleep Talk. That's what it sounds like, a reimagined version, like on a Dayseeker song. And that song also didn't go anywhere. The only thing that stood out in the song was the feature, was the rapper guy. But nothing interesting happened. But again, you know, James' voice sounded really good on it, but when it comes to the instrumental, nothing happened in that song, which is really unfortunate. And then also, I would say the last song, All I Have Left to Give, was such an underwhelming closer that it was just kind of like nothing happened on it. Like, again, the chorus was really good. As I said, all the choruses are really catchy on this song, but just nothing happened on it. And I was like, these guys are really talented. Like, they're really, like, their first album and even their second album, I just felt like it was a lot more catchier and a lot more, like, you know, there's a lot more interesting stuff going on, whether it's softer or heavier. You know, I just felt like there just wasn't much to those three songs that I mentioned. And also, kind of contradicting myself, This album may have been a little too short. It's about 32 minutes, but I think honestly it maybe could have benefited for being a little bit longer. I don't know. Like it just felt like it was over so quick, and I didn't really get a chance to like really digest the entire album, it feels like, and that's why I said it feels a little underwhelmed or undercooked, because maybe it's just a little bit too short. But I don't know. Those are some of the cons that stuck out to me. Maybe listening to it again will definitely make a difference, but as of right now, those are kind of like my cons with the album. For my top 3 favorite songs from this album, I would say number 1 is Clockwork Enemy. Thought that song was the most unique song on the entire album. Thought it was super sick all the way through. Again, that breakdown was really cool. Absolutely love that one. Probably my favorite song on the album. It's unfortunate that the heaviest song, in my opinion, is the best song, but you know, that's kind of the way that it goes sometimes. Because again, I don't like to say like it's better because it's heavier, but that one just had the most variety for me here. So I gotta say Clockwork Enemy was my personal favorite. Number 2, I actually really like Shade. Now, for some reason, that song, in my opinion, wasn't anything too crazy itself, but I actually really like that song. Again, I've been practicing my singing a little bit more, and so I just feel like that song would be a really good song for me to practice to when it comes to like trying to hit those higher notes comfortably and then try to go back to those lower notes. So I don't know, maybe that's why I like that one so much, because again, I feel like it'd be a fun song to sing before I go into the studio or just practice my own free time. And then I would say Next Time Around, again, I love that it was a little bit softer. I thought it was super cool all the way through. Again, I love Matt's voice on it. I thought he did a really good job of adding something new to the song that otherwise was just kind of a, you know, you're kind of your typical ballad type song. But again, Matt totally just brought his own thing to it, and I thought it sounded kind of like a Casket song, to be honest, when Matt showed up, and I thought that was really cool. And so those are the top 3 songs that stuck out to me on the first initial listen of Hell Finds You Everywhere. Overall, man, again, I like the album, but again, I just felt like it just needed a little more time in the oven, I guess you could say. It's kind of like with pizza, whether the pizza's cold or hot, whether you prefer it, it's still pizza and it's still good, you know. I feel like, again, there could have been a little bit more to this album. I just felt like, you know, there were so many songs on here that could have had so much potential, but just did not reach that potential. And it's kind of a bummer, because these guys are really talented, and they seem like they're really cool guys. Like, I have nothing against them at all. And again, I've talked to a few of them, and they're really kind people. I just feel like, again, there could have been a little bit more to this album. I definitely prefer their first 2 albums over this one for sure. There are a few songs on here that I absolutely will be adding to my playlist here that I really enjoyed. And who knows, maybe listen to it again. Maybe those cons that I have will kind of disappear when I listen to it more in time. But again, on the first initial listen, I just have to be honest, again, I was a little bit underwhelmed with this album. Not that it's bad, and not that I wouldn't recommend it to anybody. I would definitely recommend it for those who are trying to get into the post-hardcore, metalcore, want something a little bit heavier. I think this is a great gateway album, and I think that'll open your eyes to more music that is out there. But for like a well-seasoned metalcore guy, rock guy, this album just didn't really do much for me here. I'm not going to give it too much of a negative score, because again, there's enough on here that I did like, but again, a little undercooked and a little underwhelmed. I'm going to give Thousand Below, Hell Finds You Everywhere, a 6 out of 10. I really feel like this album could have been a lot better. Not that I felt like I wasted my time listening to it, but again, just I wish there was a little bit more to this album, because I really wanted to love it. I liked it, I didn't love it, and again, that's kind of disappointing to me.